Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today is day one of what I believe is going to be the biggest project that I've done to date so far. I'm going to try and build a replica Batmobile called the Tumbler. Plans will absolutely change during this build. Right off the bat, I've already got the exact wheels and tires that are in the movie. Front tires are the same. I don't have the wheels yet because I need to build the arms for the front and find out exactly where I want my back spacing to be on the wheels. I have a couple 4.6 engines out of some cars that are basically in my backyard, not doing anything other than literally being a paperweight, that run and drive. So I'm gonna use those, at least one of them anyways, not both of them. You know what I mean. So I also bought this box truck right out here. That thing is gonna donate a lot of its parts. I'm hoping I can get some steering components out of it, a rear end out of it. We'll see, but basically anything I think that's usable, I'm gonna cut it off this thing, get it in the shop, get started. Here's what I've salvaged off of the truck. Maybe I'll use some of this, maybe I'll use none of it. I plan to build the frame, the whole frame, out of just tubing and stuff. But this frame looked like, I mean, it's pretty heavy duty. I might be something good to start with, maybe not. I don't know, we'll see. I am going to strip down the rear end, start playing with the wheels and tires, and see if there's any way whatsoever I can get those boggers, those super swampers, whatever they are, mounted up onto those axles without tons of work. I imagine I'm gonna have to make some spacers, some adapters, whatever that may be. All right, so a little bit of luck is on my side. I had to cut the brakes a little bit, which I don't plan to actually have brakes on the rear of this thing anyways. I plan to actually have them on the drive shaft. Kind of like a demo derby car if you've ever built or seen one of those. Anyways, I was able to get the wheels to just mount right up. They're pretty much perfect, which is awesome. However, to get the other one to mount up, I'm gonna need some spacers. I did some measuring, and just to double check everything, I went ahead and made some of these just makeshift spacers. Yes, they're crappy. Yes, they are temporary. But basically, I'm gonna thread that spacer on there. I already did this side just to make sure that it was gonna be the right gap I was looking for. You can kind of see them in there. I'm not sure if you guys saw the loop video when I took the side-by-side and drove it through the loop. I'm gonna steal this car right here that's holding it down. That thing was really stuck in there. Well, here she is in all of her beauty. Even though it looks absolutely terrible, this thing actually did run and drive like pretty well whenever I parked it and smashed it into the loop. I did just try to start it and it will turn over and it sounds great, but I think it's completely out of gas.
It ain't got no gas in it.
I got the wheel spacers put on one side. I'm about to fit up the tire and see if it works. I just figured I'd show you guys how funny it looks with a foot of wheel spacers on one side. Got the engine out of the Lincoln Town car, and it's super nasty, and it was a real pain in the ass to do. The majority of it was done in the dark, and I didn't film any of it just because it really sucked to do, and I was already frustrated enough. But anyways, we got it out, and now I got to start stripping everything off of it because I don't need a lot of the stuff I'm gonna do. It's not exactly gonna be a town car anymore. I mainly just need the motor to be able to run. Got a wiring harness for it, so that way it will run by itself. It won't need all the other stuff. So anyways, got to get on that. So my first attempt is actually gonna be to put the engine in straight, and I'm gonna make up a very, very short drive shaft out of the drive shafts from the town car that the engine came out of, and then I'm gonna use the yoke off of the box truck for the rear end. Look at it, I'll show it to you, it's pretty funny. I went ahead and cut the old drive shafts off of the yokes here. But yeah, pretty much just gonna make a super short drive shaft. I don't think it's gonna be a terrible decision. It's gonna make the cockpit very, very tight. Engine will actually be kind of sitting next to you for the most part, but that's cool with me. I don't care. I'm gonna build a firewall around it. I'll insulate it to where it's not crazy hot. And it's gonna be loud regardless because the headers are gonna be right behind you anyway. And plans may change. This is just kind of like, you know, my first putting together. I don't really know what I'm doing exactly. And I haven't found any really good detailed stuff online. A few pictures here and there, a couple measurements here and there. I found one that said that the wheelbase on this thing was 11 feet long. I found another one that said it was 15 feet long. It just there's a lot of contradicting stuff, so I'm just gonna do the best that I can with some of the information that I've gathered. Oh, and my current wheelbase that I'm shooting for is gonna be right around 13 feet. So I got the rear end set, and I actually bolted up my little tiny drive shaft that I've built. And I know what a lot of you gearheads are probably thinking, hey, that's never gonna work because how is the rear end gonna flex? Well, let me show you what my plan is. So this is just a really quick sketch. I just did it really quick just to help you guys like maybe understand kind of what I'm thinking here. But the Tumbler already has these big coilover shocks on the back, and just imagine this is going to be like a swing arm, but the engine and transmission are actually going to be mounted solid to the rear end and everything. So my plan is to actually have all of this pivot right here with a big rod or something and bearing, and then just use the coilover. So actually all of this will flex a little bit. I don't plan to jump this thing 100 feet in the air like they do on the movie or anything like that. The idea is to just actually drive it around and have it be functional. It's kind of the cheapest slash I'm working with what I've got at the end of the day, and I think this is kind of like my best scenario right now. I'm not scared to cut this damn thing completely apart and start over. So I'm gonna go with this first. If it doesn't work, we'll always pivot and figure something else out. I'm gonna chop off about 7-8 foot of this and see if we can't use it over here on the Tumbler. At some point today, I gotta go get a new power washer wand because I've gotta get my tailgater. Thing's built by Upfit UTV, man. I absolutely love that thing. It's one of my favorite side-by-sides I've ever owned. And I just hate seeing it sitting there all muddy after my nationals, but I gotta get that bad boy cleaned up sometime today. I can't be doing Batmobile, Batman shit all day. The wheels came in for the front of the Tumbler, so let's get them mounted up. Got these tires all mounted up, and they look pretty awesome. They're wide. They're light too, which will be cool, you know what I mean? Not having a ton of weight out here on the front end, like a lot of the razors and stuff we do. The tires are a lot of freaking weight that you gotta turn or push, whatever. So I wanted to show you guys this, which was pretty cool. I took the knuckle, the steering knuckle, and the ball joints and everything off of the car, and it fits right in there and everything. The issue is this steering knuckle is so damn tall that it sticks outside the wheel. It's gonna look goofy. So I actually came up with something I hope will work. Worst case scenario, if it does not, I just built it. So it's not that big of a deal out of all scrap parts I had laying around. I took a hub off of a Polaris Ranger and some heavy duty ball joints. I had some cups that were off of some A-arms, Super ATV A-arms that I cut the end off of and made my own ball joint delete setup for my twin engine razor. I got those bolted on there. So this is actually gonna be my new steering knuckle now. The cool part is it's a fraction of the size of the other one, so it will fit inside the wheel. Waiting on some more parts to show up for the front end, so I'm gonna move to where I'll be sitting at in the car, start building the cab. The steel showed up yesterday, so that's the next project. So I got a lot of the chassis knocked out, like the base of it, right? I still got a lot of it left to do, but I'll show you kind of the A-arms and stuff because I'm starting to build them over here. It's kind of cool if I don't say so myself how we're doing this. So I'm building it out of a 3-inch square tube. I will have a kicker tube that comes over to this, but basically this piece is going to be mounted right up here onto the frame. That's going to allow this arm to pivot. And then I'm going to put the side-by-side knuckle on the end of this so it will steer. I'm over here right now actually building the other side. I am waiting on a couple parts to show up. I need some adapters so I can connect the razor hub to the 5-lug wheel. Unfortunately, I don't have that adapter right at the moment. That's why I didn't go ahead and finish this arm up. I'm just getting all my pieces cut and getting everything really close. But there's gonna be a few tweaks here and there that I'm gonna have to make. And without those adapters, I can only go so far. But either way, it's really starting to have the look. And keep in mind, I'm bringing the duals in 5 inches still. That's what this gap's for. That will put this rail a little bit closer to the center of the tires. And I'll still have the body and stuff on there. You know what I mean? Like this, that will come out and actually be at the edge of the tire. It looks like, to me, it looks like the body is so long, But after it's all covered up in armor and stuff like that, the back will get some size to it. The front will get some size to it. It's gonna look really, really cool, I think. Got the A-arms all fabbed up. Nothing is complete, right? I wanna just get as much stuff done as possible, see how it works, and then weld everything out, you know, kind of one time. We'll be reinforcing this, but got a sway bar put in, got the seats put in, got the hydro ram mounted up. This is pretty cool. I actually use the Whaley Welding and Fab seat bases for my seats. That is pretty cool. Allows me to use razor seats I had laying around. I am dirty, dang. I'll show you kind of the swing arm that I got done. So this isn't 100% complete yet. I actually junked my drill bits for 3/4 inch. So I'm gonna have to get me some new ones. But I'm going to plate this area as well. And there's another pillow block that's gonna go here. These bearings aren't really made for what I'm doing, right? They're more for like a conveyor or maybe something a little less heavy duty than this. So I'm actually gonna double them up. I haven't decided yet though, am I gonna put one going upside down or backwards like this? I feel like if I do them both like this, well, the weak spot of this bearing is here. I've seen them break a lot here in my millwright days. So pretty much if I have it going a different direction, it should, in my mind, strengthen it up, right? And not make it to where the weak spot is in the same location on both bearings. Maybe I'm just crazy, but that's kind of where my head is. I'll probably end up doing something a little bit different with the second bearing. You guys want to see me building some of this, so let me show you how I'm making the paneling. I actually bought this book that has all the Batmobiles in it and pretty much all the stuff that you may want to know about them. It has a lot of detailed pictures and just lots of information. Much like I did on the Death Race car, I'm just trying to find things in the picture that I know the size of them, and then I'm gonna scale them. To the best of my abilities. I mean, I can't get it exactly perfect, but I'm getting it as close as I can. After I think I have it pretty close, I sketch it onto a dry erase board, which ignore that because then I bring it over here to my steel and actually make it to scale. This piece right here is going to be the front piece right here on the bumper. And it's gonna go right here. So here it is. It would be awesome to CNC laser or plasma or water jet some of these parts, but there's something to be said about building all of this literally by hand, and that's just my style. That's the way I like to do things. The front end is a little bit closer. Definitely not complete yet, but that's another step in the right direction. I can't help it, but just love it every time I see it. I can already just like see the finished product. It's coming along really cool. Who's got some more done on this thing the last couple days, and it does fire up and run. No issues whatsoever with that, which is pretty freaking cool. Got a little bit of sheet metal in while I was waiting on some parts to come in, so I went ahead and worked on a little bit of that, but this is pretty cool. Got the dash. Not really the dash, but center console, I guess you'd call it. So I've got it started and it's turning out pretty nice so far. Any of the wiring and stuff that's in the loom, I plan to leave like more for permanent, but if it's not in a loom, it's just temporary just so I can play around with some stuff. But I haven't got the battery disconnect hooked up yet. I'm just unplugging and plugging in the ground. So I'm gonna hook that thing up and you'll see it lights up. This is none of these are anything just yet, but this turns on the ECM or the computer for the engine. This is the fuel pump. You can hear it. The fan. This allows power to go to the starter. So I'm not gonna fire it up, but I'll turn it over just real quick. I'll turn all this off. So the reason I'm not gonna fire it up just yet is because I did earlier, runs great, although I don't have my power steering stuff hooked up yet. So power steering fluid was flying everywhere. It actually went and hit my wall and everything, so I'm gonna try and avoid some of that. I went ahead and hooked up some hydraulic lines. They're just kind of crappily ran there, but I gotta get some different fittings and stuff anyways, but I wanted to go ahead and fire this thing up again, so let's see if it'll do it. that means we're that much closer to having it running and driving. If these steering parts would hurry up already, because I'm definitely getting anxious waiting on them, that's for sure. So when building my Batmobile, the only CAD that I use is cardboard and duct tape. So I'm gonna call it the firewall here to protect me from the engine and also kill some of the sound, but I just used some duct tape and this poster board. A lot of people do use actual cardboard, like from boxes and stuff like that over there, but it's way easier to use this stuff. You can cut it with scissors a lot easier, you can bend it, you can draw it, everything about it is easier. You use tape or whatever and you can just add pieces back on. Just a little tip for you. I use that stuff all the time. My wife actually happened to have some of it left over, that's why it's all crazy colored. But anyways, yeah, little tip for you guys. So there you go, fits up real nice. Well guys, I kind of fumbled on the filming process to say the least. I've been super busy outside of working on the Batmobile, so I kind of forgot to film some of this stuff. I didn't forget, I was just too damn busy and I couldn't do it. So let's do a little walk around of this thing, show you where I'm at and what I'm working on today. Check out the tiny tumbler there. This thing is super handy because I can actually, put my hands on it and flip it around and get different angles and see what it looks like. I know that this thing isn't identical to the movie. I mean, heck, mine's not either, but this one's pretty close and that's what I'm going for here. Clearly, I got a bunch of armor and stuff on it. All that stuff's looking good. I got some lights on it. Ignore how crappy the welds are. They all get buffed down and like smoothed anyways. So right there's a transmission cooler. I'm planning, just like on the original Tumbler, to have a duct, an air vent, a hood scoop, a side scoop. I don't know what you want to call this thing, but to allow air to go in there to those two radiators. This one and this one. So I got my pinion brake setup all done and I ran a hard brake line up to the pedal. This design, it's very similar to what they use in demo derby cars. I just kind of made my own twist to it and I think it should work out good. We'll find out soon enough. The top of it opens up. It's pretty awesome. Not complete yet at all, but I'll clip in a video right here and showing you. The rear coilover springs, they're installed. The coolant lines, I actually hard piped these. Not all the way, but most of the way. A couple reasons I did it. One, I think it's cool. Back in my rock bouncer days, hill killing days, a lot of the guys actually use their roll cages to transport their coolant, from the engine in the front to the radiators in the back. I thought that was pretty cool, pretty good idea. So I wanted to do a little bit of that. And also, I didn't have a bunch of that radiator hose, so I figured, hey, I got plenty of this roll cage tubing, let's just do that. It worked out pretty slick. That brings me to today's project, is the steering. I didn't like the original design. I cut all of it off. And so let me show you what I'm doing now. This is the original size I used, 3/4 inch solid stock. This is what I'm gonna use now, 1.25 inch DOM tubing. This is my original steering design setup. This is the size of the U-joint that I was using, and I was using 2 of them. My goal is to cut back to 1, and I'm gonna use this one now. This is the guy she said not to be worried about. My original design didn't have a linear bearing in it, which allowed the shaft to slide forward and backwards when the wheel goes up and down. So this actually allows that and should keep the wheel nice and true. We'll see, fingers crossed. All right, I got this side done and I figured I would just show you guys what I did as I'm building the other side and kind of walk you through how it works. It's kind of hard to see, but there's actually a hydraulic ram in there hooked up to this tie rod. So I have a hydraulic ram that's hooked up to a rod that goes over and then connects to this rod, which is clamped with a bracket on here that I built, which runs down to this linear bearing, which allows, when the wheel goes up and down, it allows the shaft to slide a little bit. That was one of my big mistakes before. From there, I have a little tiny tie rod hooked up and it seems to work just fine. Granted, the other steering system worked well too until I put it under its own weight and then I started having issues. Although this is way tighter, I think it's gonna work out good. But yeah, I just gotta get the other side done. I'm halfway done with it and then we'll see.
I'm pretty sure I got the steering figured out. Check it out.
Very, very easy to turn, all hydraulic. That is a huge accomplishment. That was making me pull my hair out for the last couple weeks. Glad it's behind us. Let's keep moving. Got some electrical and stuff like that I think I'm gonna work on next. Then I'll get back on the body. I gotta bleed the brakes. We're really close to being able to actually drive it, but I would love to have a little bit more of the body on there just so I can get some really sweet rollers whenever I take it out of the garage. So I've kind of dropped the ball on filming all the updates on this thing. It's just tough because it's a big project. So when I get a couple hours, I get to work on it and I don't really think about filming it. Next thing you know, I've got a lot done and I'm like, damn, I didn't film that. But here's where we're at currently with the Tumbler. Got the steering upgraded, some lights installed, got more armor on. I'm working on the windows today. Got a little bit more electrical done. Got a long way to go on everything, obviously, but it's coming along pretty nice. So I drug the Tumbler out of the corner over there. I actually got the lawnmower in there now because everybody knows that's really the star of this channel. Drug it out mainly because I wanted to have some room to work on the back of it here. That's really, you know, the rest of the sheet metal I got to do. I actually went ahead and jacked the back of it up because I was trying to bleed the brakes and my little bleeder tool thing where it sucks the brake fluid to the back isn't really working. So I'll have to do it manually whenever I have somebody here. But before I took off, headed out my door, it's kind of a downhill slope out of my drive right here. And I need to make sure the brakes work because I do know that the drive works and I want to be able to stop this freaking thing. Got the steering much better. It's still not perfect. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna have to do to make it perfect or if it ever will be. It's certainly gonna be good enough to drive it or, you know, take it on its first drive. And yeah, I'll play with it a little bit more, I'm sure, but it is doing much better than it was before. Here's a little fire up for you. Oh yeah. So I tucked the button in here. That raises and lowers it. Currently, I just climb over to the side, but it will have steps here eventually, so it'll be more like the actual Batmobile. Here we are inside of this bad boy. Get you some. About ready to fight crime, baby. I'll turn all that stuff back off. I have a couple screens in here for the cameras. I'm gonna have one that's gonna be mounted right here that will show on the back side of this plate. I also plan to have a couple more over here. I plan to have a lot of screens in here so that way I can see out of this thing really good. It's got a lot of blind spots in it. I also forgot to show you, but you probably saw it, the switch right here. That lowers the hatch. And I also forgot to show you that this is the start button for it to fire up.